how would you get like a marketer at like a cybersecurity company to think about creating content that like a chief security officer would maybe care about, right? And they're not cybersecurity experts.
All right. So this was actually one of the most common questions I had when I was speaking at South by Southwest on stage last year. And it was from fintech, IT security, like really deeply technical industries where the marketer may not be a subject matter expert. It's like, how do you find a way to relate to an audience, especially like a C-level audience? Here's three of the things that I always recommend that if you're not doing today, it's your superpower. Number one, you will only be able to tell good stories by how deeply you understand, one, your audience, and two, like your customer. And one of the best ways that you should do that, and every marketer should be doing this today, is one, first things first, if you have some type of recording software or Gong or whatever it is, there's a really great framework by Joanna Wiebe when she was running Copy Hackers that I've used at every company, which is take your like ideal customer profiles, break them out to kind of like the first 1 to 3 buyers, and go put a Google Sheet together and basically put like in chronological order, like a list of who they are in the column, and then on the far right, basically like break these moments in time around what question that person asks when they're doing a discovery call with you, right? Let's say that you have one of your account executives running like a disco with that buyer, and you basically just map in chronological order, like what they said in what order. And what you want to do there is look at the patterns that repeat after you've gone through 1 to 3 calls. Usually in the first like 3 to 4 calls, you'll see a pattern. And what you want to look for are what we call like aha moments, the documentary moments, the moments where they're talking in with power words, with passionate language, with hand gestures, where they're really talking about what they're feeling. And you want to look for the emotion and the subtext behind that thing, right? So let's say that you're dealing with a cybersecurity firm and they're figuring out, or you're selling like SOC 2, right? And they have an issue of like compliance and storage, and they have all of this stuff that's in, physical warehouses, let's say, like whatever it is, you'll be able to sense that from the weight of their language, how they're showing up, right? The way that they talk about it. And what you want to do is you want to pinpoint these like social and emotional stories and unpack like the what's happening behind them. Then once you have that, the thing you're going to want to do is just get really comfortable talking about that topic and using that as an opening question when you're at events, when you're on LinkedIn, when you're engaging in any type of community with that customer. And you want to find common grounds to understand where they're coming from, and like really the cliche version of like the, what keeps you up at night, but it's like understanding the stuff that they're going to bed thinking about, the stuff that on Monday morning they have, anxiety about, the way that you need to understand way more than just their functional jobs to be done. The next thing you want to do is have your team go to an event with these people. And this is what I've done in my last, really actually every role that I've been at. Go take your phone, go to an event, ideally something that's like a happy hour where your customers are going to be there, and just go open mic TikTok style and interview people and ask them questions. What we used to do literally is we would have Slack, and we would just hit the voice record in Slack. And obviously we'd make sure that people were okay with us recording before we had a conversation. And we'd say, hey, we've talked to 15 chief security officers, in the last 2 hours at this event. And like, here's what they've said. Their like number one issue is X, or like, here's what's going on. How do you think about that? Or like really like dig in with the language of how people have used and just like have a conversation and understand them. You will get so much gold that you can create stories and content from, because you're mirroring the language of what they're saying. You're finding the power words, and you're really like reflecting that you understand them. You can understand any audience as a marketer if you invest in actually talking to them. I think the biggest gap is marketers who are afraid to go and cold call someone, meet with a customer, go to that event. You need to be like on the front lines as a marketer, engaging with your audience, because they will give you everything you need to write. You just need to be able to like take that next step. And it's not we do this once a quarter. It's like you should be doing this every day, every week, and get super dialed in to understand like that voice of the customer.
That is such a great idea. I'm actually